So, with Rhythm of War by Brandon Sanderson having come out this week, here's my dust jacket, and I do have a reading vlog for my experience reading both Rhythm of War and Dawnshard actually coming up. But with that book having come out this week, there's been a lot of talk on YouTube and Bookstagram and probably Book Twitter, not that I go there, about the Cosmere, and I saw that Elle from the channel Elliot Brooks recently did a video about the possible reading orders for the Cosmere, so I will link that video down in the description. And if you haven't yet dived into the Cosmere and are a little bit curious about where to start, then I would highly recommend that video. I think that it's really, really useful. But I just wanted in this video to share my own personal Cosmere reading order. I discovered the Cosmere about 3 years ago now, just over 3 years ago now, and I haven't read everything in the Cosmere yet. I've got a few things left to go, mostly the short stories, but I have read quite a lot of the Cosmere content, and so I thought that I would share the order that I read in, because I personally found that that reading order really worked for me. It's allowed me to see a lot of the tie-ins that start to happen later on in the Stormlight Archive, so I figured you might be interested. I'm interested in other people's reading orders, so I decided to do this video. So I started off with the Final Empire, the Well of Ascension, and the Hero of Ages. So the entire First Era Mistborn arc. I read them back to back. And then once I had finished reading those three, I moved on and read Warbreaker, because I really wanted to read the Stormlight Archive, but I had heard that you should really read Warbreaker first. So I did. I read Warbreaker. And I don't know that that was necessarily the best decision for me, because I ended up not enjoying Warbreaker as much as I could have, because I was really just trying to rush through it to get to Stormlight. But anyway, so I read Warbreaker, and then I read the Stormlight Archive, the books that were available at that time, which were The Way of Kings, Words of Radiance, Edgedancer, and Oathbringer, and I just binged them all in that order. And once I'd finished the Stormlight Archive, which, spoiler, I loved by the way, I then read Elantris. After I had read Elantris, which I also really, really love, I then went back and read Mistborn, the 11th Metal, and then I took a bit of a break, and then I reread all the books that I'd already read in a slightly different order. After I'd done that reread, which had allowed me to pick up on a lot of the things that I had missed the first time round, I then read Mistborn Era 2, and I did that this year. So I read Alloy of Law, Bands of Mourning, and Shadows of Self. Or it might be the other way around. I always forget which way round those two go. But anyway, so I read those. And then I took another bit of a break. And then I read, for Shardathon, round 1, I read Mistborn, the 11th Metal again. But I also read Secret History, which I hadn't read before. And then I reread the Stormlight Archive again. Books 1, 2, 2.5 and 3. And then after that, when it came out, I read Dawnshard, and then after Dawnshard I read Shadows for Silence, which is a short story, and then I read Sixth of the Dusk, which is a short story, and then Rhythm of War had come out, so I read Rhythm of War. So I've read Mistborn Era 1, Warbreaker and Elantris twice. I've read the Stormlight Archive, Way of Kings, Words of Radiance, and Oathbringer 3 times. I've read Edgedancer twice. I've read the 11th Metal twice. I've read Secret History once. I've read Mistborn Era 2 once, and I've read Dawnshard once, Shadows for Silence once, Sixth of Dusk once, and I'm currently reading Rhythm of War. So that has been my Cosmere reading order / reading history, and I feel like I have a pretty good grasp on a lot of the Cosmere now, because I've reread quite a lot of the books multiple times. Not so much the short stories, but the main books I've read at least twice, and with Stormlight 3 times, and I feel like the reason I've read Stormlight 3 times is because it's so much more complex than any of the other books. I haven't reread Mistborn Era 2 yet because I only read it for the first time this year, and honestly I don't know if I'll reread it because it's my least favourite in the Cosmere, to be honest. I'm not a huge fan of the kind of Wild West setting and the solving a mystery type thing. It's just not really my jam, but I still enjoyed them. And I'm really glad that I reread the Stormlight Archive before reading Dawnshard and Rhythm of War. I feel like that was definitely the right decision for me. And also, I'm really glad that I decided to read Shadows for Silence and Sixth of the Dusk before reading Rhythm of War. I think that if you have time to do that, you should definitely do that, because Rhythm of War is really starting to bring stuff together, which is very exciting. And they're only subtle. I mean, you're not going to miss anything in Rhythm of War if you haven't read the rest of the Cosmere, but I would recommend that you do if you can. So this might have been a pointless video, but I kind of wanted to talk about my Cosmere experience, and yeah, that's it for this one. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video and want to see more like this from me, then do think about hitting that subscribe button, and I hope to see you here again soon. Thanks, bye!